Hey, this is Shaun with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com and make sure you register for the Fall Festival, the 2024 Go Tennis Tennis and Pickleball Fall Festival. It's on November 9th. It is this week to date this, because this is Tuesday, which is voting day here in the United States, Tuesday, November 5th. And make sure after you vote, before you vote, while you're standing in line, make sure you register for the Fall Festival. We want to see you there. It's going to be awesome. Today, we're going to talk about voting. We're going to talk about conservative versus liberal. We're going to talk about change versus staying the same. And we don't usually do conversations like this, Justin. It's 10 minutes of tennis, but are we going to stay the same? Are we going to change? It's election day in the United States. This is a fun conversation, but it's dangerous as well. And I think you're like me. We very often don't have this conversation, definitely not publicly and definitely not on the record. So today, on the record, Justin, who are you voting for? Tennis or pickleball?
Oh, I was gonna tell everybody, good luck with your voting today. You know, being the non-American right now, I don't have to worry about it. So good luck to you all. And with the amount of divide that's going on, I just hope this country can pull itself together over the next 12 months is all I can say. Because it's going to be an interesting show these next few months, either way. So anyway, good luck today, everyone. As far as tennis and pickleball, well, I was definitely an anti pickleball for many years when it first came out, and I've probably fallen more closer to the pickleball game for the reason that I see so much joy that people are getting exercise, that they're actually getting healthy. Um, it went a little crazy, but like always, something gets a fad and it goes a little crazy, and they start playing at night and under glow and all in shopping malls where the balls can't even bounce right and the skids. I mean, just it got a little out of control, the whole pickleball thing. But overall, it's been an incredible invention that I don't know how he picked it up and how he called it a bloody kitchen. But, um, it's done well. I'm proudly wearing my Puerto Rican shirt today because we won the World Cup in pickleball, which is pretty amazing out of 32 nations. Um, so yeah, it's look, they're very competitive. People are getting a good release and they're being healthy, just like a game of tennis. Um, but yeah, we can't correlate the two sports. It just as far as athleticism, the level of cognitive issue, I mean, the whole works. But I'm sure pickleball people will argue with me that the reflexes have to be faster. So you know, there's all sorts of back and forth arguments that we can talk about. Like Trump, Harris, tennis, pickleball. It could get very, very exciting if you bring in a fancy pickleball player, but that may be our next call is to get the top rated pickleball coach and we start going head to head with the differences between pickleball and tennis. Uh, but as far as I'm concerned, there is no no comparison. Um, so
So
yeah,
you're
but
voting.
it
You're
just
voting for tennis. You're on that. I'd say that the old school side. Tennis been around for thousands of years. Don't
yeah, I
change
mean,
it. Tennis is great.
well, tennis is always going to be that way. I mean, you can't put the two together, you know. So at the same time, people have now related, pickleball into tennis because we've changed the USPTA, right? So um, I don't know. I Again, it's all going to be new times for tennis and pickleball and racket sports, while it's going to be new times where it's going to be Trump or Harris. So that's probably what the most interesting thing is. The one thing you talked about politics, I brought up Kyrgios and Sissipas because that's sort of what tennis brings as well as to what people are doing now. And so I guess what I'm trying to help people vote is think about your most craziest rivalry game tennis match you've ever made, and that might start helping you make a vote or a decision today. But there is a lot of similarities as to what the game of tennis can do on a tennis court. It can get heated. People can say what they don't want to say. It gets very emotional. And at the end of the day, there's still a shake of the hands and business goes on. So,
Well, and before we get to Tsitsipas and Kyrgios, which I do want to have that conversation, my next "Who are you voting for?" question: USPTA or RSPA?
Definitely USPTA.
Okay, so you don't think the change in this case. So if USPTA is the conservative and RSPA is the liberal, and you've got change on one end and stay the same on the other, you're USPTA. That's where you would go with that. You don't want the change in that case.
Well, I guess the interesting comment is the history of the USPTA always came in as a racket sports history. So I think that's what they try to utilize and expand uh, into that. And USPTA is the educational side. Obviously, USTA. If we see the USTA switch to a US Racket Sports Association, that's when I think I will have something to say. You know, um, they're just not the same. And I've said this a long time. Like create another association, create another racket sports association. I don't know, but because tennis has always been on its own that way. But like you said, I'm open minded to everything. So if they bring you a good point of view that helps everything and helps people. I mean, at the end of the day, we play tennis for the love of the sport, but we also play for sport. For the love of staying healthy, feeling good, and what it brings to the community. So if it brings something more, then I'm definitely open minded to listen.
Well, and for you and me as tennis coach types, we also
Mm,
don't just play to stay healthy. We coach and we teach and we play because it's part of our business. And
yep.
that's where the USPTA comes in because it's the business side, the educational side for the coaches. Now,
Yeah.
if they're going to do that and say, hey, let's just gobble up all these other racket sports as well, I
Mm,
would think that's a good direction to go. But again, the
mm,
conservative side says we've done this for thousands of years. This is the way it should be. Pickleball isn't tennis, and when badminton, are you kidding me?
mm. Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to, you compare what people make in either sports. I mean, you can look at it in all different ways, right? Um, it sort of has been out there as the elite racket sport for a very long time. So it is very hard to compile them together. But at the end of the day, if it's helping, people getting healthy and coaches being more educated, I guess, and given more tools. There's a lot of coaches out there that possibly could do better at being on a pickleball court health wise than being on a tennis court. Um, so if it gives a pro more opportunity to continue doing what they love and make money, then I guess I'm all for it. You know.
Last question: Tsitsipas or Kyrgios? I'm not giving the listeners any context. You and I know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Was Tsitsipas soft? Is he soft? Was Kyrgios a bully? Was he just being a jerk? Where do you come down on that whole thing?
Sissipas was definitely being soft as far as I'm concerned, And I can talk Aussie wise, Kyrgios. I know I know him very well, and I know what he's talking about. But on the other hand, we can go back to the American days, right? As I said, Jimmy Connors, John McEnroe, Andy Roddick was quite verbal. Agassi can be verbal, right? They knew where to tone it down, though, and that's what Sissipas was talking about, is that he just wouldn't stop the talking. But it also is just part of the game. So you can talk about noise. The crowd's making noise while you're playing tennis. When you're hitting a ball and you hit a shot and it lands on the line and the crowd goes, woo, you still have to keep playing. It landed on the line. So don't talk about the noise. It's really basically saying, if I'm letting this guy get in my head, that's being soft as far as I'm concerned.
So you're on the soft side. I'm on the Kyrgios was being a jerk side because I think which is interesting to me because Tsitsipas at one point said Kyrgios, I'm sure, was a bully when he was younger, and I don't think that's true at all. I think Kyrgios was bullied, and I think
I,
he was the one picked on, and I think he does everything in his life to flip that script as an adult, as a successful adult.
I would totally 100% agree with that. He was short. He was only a little guy to the age of almost 15, a little plump kid. So no way was it his the bully. He was the other way around, as far as
Yeah,
I'm
in
concerned.
Australia, he was
Yeah.
littler, he was overweight, He was brown skin. And
Yep.
he talks about the racism all the time. Like, he was the
Yep.
kid that was beat down as a kid.
Yep. Yep.
And then, but the thing is, I, in my mind, probably think psychologically he uses that as an excuse to be able to flip the script and say, well, you know what? Now I'm successful and I play basketball with real men, and I'm stuck out here playing tennis with Tsitsipas. I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I would target, you know what? Maybe they were both wrong. I'm good with that. Tsitsipas, you're a little soft. But man, if you've got that guy who's just pushing your buttons and pushing your buttons and pushing your buttons, we all know
Yep.
people like that. And
Yep.
pushing and pushing and pushing. And eventually when I pop, is that really on me?
Well, and the other way around, right? He still had to play everybody else,
Hmm?
right? And what Federer just did is let the racket do the talking. I mean, it's just as simple as that,
Not
right?
everybody can be that way.
It's still part of the game, man. It's
Yeah.
part of the game. We're all competitive. Even in I'm sure in pickleball, with it being so close, there's a lot of stuff being said as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, in this case, 10 minutes of tennis. We talked a little bit. We talked about politics, but we actually didn't talk politics, which is good because I don't like doing that. Definitely not in public. But your USPTA, not RSPA. That would be your vote. Your vote is tennis, not pickleball. And your vote is Tsitsipas with soft. So in this case,
Yeah.
I think I know. You know, were you an American? I might be able to guess which way you'd go, but we're not going there. Justin, I appreciate your time. This has been 10 minutes of tennis with world-renowned tennis coach, Australian in Puerto Rico, Justin Yeo. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Take care, man.